For roughly 3 straight years, we have seen Republicans, we have heard Republicans all out there telling us that Christopher Steele, the former British spy, was absolutely an operative working with the Democrats trying to take down Donald Trump. That dossier that he put together, some of which has been corroborated, some of it has not, it was released roughly about 3 years ago. And here's the thing. Yesterday, we got the Inspector General's report talking about the investigation into Donald Trump, how it started, what were the roots. And so obviously a big portion of that Inspector General's report focused on Christopher Steele, the guy who put together the dossier. And in the report, we found out that Christopher Steele did in fact not have a huge bias against Donald Trump, and that at one point, starting roughly 10 years prior to the dossier's compilation, he actually had a working relationship with Ivanka Trump. That is what we found out from the IG report yesterday. That Christopher Steele, this former British spy, met Ivanka Trump at a fancy dinner. The two of them kind of seemed to hit it off, emailed back and forth for years, met up at least once at Trump Tower. They were planning a second meetup at Trump Tower. Steele wanted to work with him. And in the IG report, Steele actually came out and said, if anything, I went into this with a pro-Trump bias. Now, let's be clear. This Inspector General's report does not indicate that Mr. Steele and Mrs. Trump ever had anything more than a working relationship. But they did meet up, as I mentioned, at Trump Tower. They emailed back and forth for years. And it really does lead one to speculate about what the nature of that relationship was. But that's a story for a different day. The story today is that another Republican talking point has been murdered. And that is that Christopher Steele was some kind of anti-Trump Democratic operative who put together this dossier to destroy the Trump administration. If anything, Christopher Steele's the kind of guy who probably wanted a job there. He certainly wanted a job, or at least to work with in some capacity or another, Ivanka Trump. And we know that now. We now know that Republicans have been lying to us for 3 straight years about who Christopher Steele is and what his motivations are. And the worst part about it is that Ivanka Trump sat there for 3 years, knowing dang well she knew this guy. She knew who he was. She could have picked him out of a lineup because they'd hung out in the past. And she said nothing. She let these attacks against Christopher Steele from her own party, from her father, continue because she was too embarrassed or too ashamed or maybe just too scared to speak up about the fact that she knew this guy and she knew him pretty well. Thanks for watching, everybody. And don't forget, if you like what you see here, like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. And now you can also become a member of Ring of Fire and get exclusive early access to certain Ring of Fire videos all throughout the week. Just click on the little join button right below the video.